Hello everyone, my name is Kylie, and before I start, I want to formally accept my nomination for the secretary position. For some background, I'm a second-year public health major and former academic chair for the 2025-2026 school year. Since my beginning here at CSULB, I've yearned for a sense of community, a space where I feel welcomed and appreciated. I found this community in PAC and went as far as to become a fall semester PAC turn, joined PCN 39 dancing to Nickley, joined CAB as academic chair, and joined PCN 40 again dancing to Seaton. Growing up in a rural, predominantly white space has made me feel a disconnect with my culture. Joining PAC has been my way to reconnect and learn about it. I want to be a part of fostering this community, making sure all Gen members have the same great experience I did. I believe I accomplished this in my existing role as academic chair, but I feel as though my journey is not done, and I'm ready to take on a higher position to execute my vision for this club. Having the opportunity to be on CAB this year has given me a new sense of perspective and respect for each position. Seeing how passionate everyone was about their events inspired me on a personal level and gave me motivation to keep striving for greatness. Being able to collaborate with Assistant Treasurer for study nights, working with other pillars for Capitals Month, and especially working with eBoard for guidance on my events has given me the ability to form a strong connection with my fellow cabinet members. This is why I want to run for secretary, to help my fellow CAB members run their events as smoothly as the process was for me, and also because I see it as my way of creating a welcoming space from behind the scenes. I remember during the summer last year, being so stressed about working on my first event, Freshman Transfer Day. Trying to navigate the agenda template was one thing, but stressing about working around the construction on campus was another. And don't even get me started on trying to find the right budgeting form. The only thing that alleviated my fear was when Eli called me one day to ask how planning was going. I told him I didn't have much and I was worried about how to move forward with my event, but then he told me, just tell us what you have so far so we can work on booking the spot. It might seem like something so little, but it genuinely changed my perspective on CAB. I wasn't creating an event to prove my worth and show off to cabinet. I was working with them to execute my vision. I felt comfort in the fact that my job was to create and imagine, and I could count on them to help with the logistics. I want our cabinet members to focus on creating and building events, not having to worry about executing them. I want to be there for them and give guidance, the same guidance I received this year. As secretary, I want to be able to help them navigate the resources in the Google Drive to prevent any feelings of stress or feeling overwhelmed. To me, an ideal secretary would reach out first, to show that even though it may be your event, you still have someone to collaborate with. I know planning your first event as a new cabinet member might feel like a huge responsibility to take on by yourself. Having the secretary be the first one to reach out snaps them out of this mentality early on and helps them realize their resources go further beyond what their predecessors left them with. An ideal secretary would implement and enforce rules to help our club run smoothly. The dynamic of CAB will be different, but I believe it's the secretary's role to make sure everyone's job gets done and as efficiently as possible. They would enforce fines, emphasize communication, and have the minutes sent out before meeting. With all this said, I think I have exactly what it takes to be this ideal secretary. Being academic chair this year, I had the responsibility to set the tone for the year. I took the initiative during summer to grind out my back-to-back events, and I think the work paid off. With my early planning, Freshman Transfer Day and Major Mingle both had a bigger turnout than summer turners have seen in years. This translates well to the secretary's position with the chaos that is booking rooms. Secretary usually starts their work during May by booking rooms for early fall STEM events. I've shown that I can succeed and excel in a position, and I will hit the ground running. Another important quality I have is punctuality. I've yet to be fined this year, and I made it to call time / submitted my work before the deadlines each time. Being a presenter, it was important to have my slides filled out in time so the secretary could have time to decorate them. I know just how important it is to adhere to this deadline because I had the opportunity to fill in for secretary. For one of our Gen meetings, while I was still a presenter, I was in charge of making and decorating the slides. I followed the same timeline this year's secretary had and made sure to communicate that while I wasn't actually secretary and I didn't have the authority to find people, the deadline still existed and should be followed. As academic chair, I had my PACademic lesson filled out by Tuesday at 11:59 p.m., but as secretary, I had the slides decorated by Gen meeting on Thursday. My relationship with ASI. My experience with ASI and other directors has honestly come from my experience with planning PGrad. Sending emails between the APIT assistant director and outside companies mirrors emailing ASI directors regarding room bookings and questions. More specifically, I had to present in front of ASI to ask for a fee waiver for my event, P-Grad. This has allowed me to be more comfortable and familiar with emailing our school directors and also giving me a face to my name. And lastly, communication. Hosting events for this year has made it abundantly clear how important communication is within CAB. Understanding how important communication is an important role of the secretary because it's one of their main jobs is enforcing it. Fees and fines may seem harsh, but in reality, they're just a way to hold people accountable for a lack of communication. Emphasizing that fees are not a way of punishment is really important to not build resentment within CAB. I've always communicated with CAB when a class interferes with call time, if I have personal business to attend to, etc. I just know how frustrating it is when you get a late notice that someone is unable to come to your event. It causes you to rearrange the roles of CAB members and even have to cut out part of your agenda. Because of this, I will clearly set guidelines for these notices to prevent any stress to our hosts. Seeing my predecessor, Hannah, run this position ignited something in me. I so badly wanted our cabinet to be filled with the love and passion she has. Hannah said in her speech last year that she planned to lead with love and trust, and lead with love and trust she did. She made me see just how important this role within CAB is, and wanting to keep this principle, I believe in myself to fill the big shoes she's going to lead. I want to lead with kindness, compassion, and help people feel understood. I want our CAB members to know that while I will be stern in my role, I'm always someone they can come to and trust. I honestly believe that having that strong connection will make me enforcing my job easier. Communicating my expectations becomes easier when I know the person knows my heart and knows it doesn't come from a bad place. It limits the feeling of resentment someone may feel towards me. So my ideas I have for this year revolve around clarity and emphasis on communication. Instead of creating newer ideas, I want to improve the quality of existing ones. For example, CAB cookies. This year, I felt like CAB members didn't understand the concept of CAB cookies and therefore did not give them out. It wasn't until later this sem that I fully grasped the idea of what they were. For a while, I thought it was a real cookie, but no. CAB cookies are awarded to one person for each event and are used to pay off fees and fines. They're worth a certain amount, and by cashing one in, that amount is subtracted from your fine. My way of enforcing this would be to change the event assessment forms to include a specific area to award a CAB cookie. Another change I would implement is notes for predecessors. My pred, Rihanna, left me a document for each event titled Master Link Page. This page consisted of links to the agendas, RSVP, rules, etc. But the most helpful thing in it was her reflection on the event. She told me the process of planning her event, the order she completed the itinerary, things she would change, and the things she wants to see in the future. Having this master link page made not only navigating the Google Drive easier, but also gave me ideas and words of encouragement. I think this is necessary for every position because sometimes reaching out to preds can be hard. Having everything in the Google Drive cuts down on the time it takes to have an answer. In times of urgency and need, a new cabinet member can reflect on the previous year's event and take what they need from their predecessor's notes. To implement this, I would reconstruct the event assessment template to include a section to address your successor. While it would need to be filled out before presenting the assessment during CAB meeting, it will not be addressed during the CAB meeting, but simply there to hold you accountable to pass on your knowledge to the next generation. My last change would be to organize the Google Drive. There were some mishaps this year using last year's template, cabinet members not having access to files, and events being put in the wrong folder. Over the summer, I would rearrange the Google Drive in a way that makes it clear to differentiate between the different years and easily find certain documents. To help CAB adjust to this change, I would hold a workshop showing how to navigate the drive, what folders certain documents should be in, emphasize that each document should be titled with the year, and a walkthrough on each template and the process to make a copy. This change is more so for future cabinets, as I believe every position is to set up for the success of the future. In closing, I'm ready to bring the same dedication, organization, and compassion I've shown as academic chair to the secretary role. I dedicate myself to ensuring every event runs smoothly, every voice is heard, and every cabinet member feels supported from the moment they step up. My time in CAB has shown me just how welcoming this community truly is. With clear communication, thoughtful resources, and a commitment to continuous improvement, I'll help CAB focus on what matters most, creating vibrant, inclusive experiences for all CAB members. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna get started with questions. Starting off with Hannah.
Okay, who is our faculty advisor and our academic advisor, and what do they each assist us with?
Faculty advisor and academic advisor?
Faculty is also like / SLD.
Oh, okay, yeah. SLD is Kabebe, academic advisor. Right now I don't know, but I will make sure to ask you in the future. And did you ask what they help us with? Oh, so Kabebe helps us with like the booking rooms and like they're like CC'd on the email to like communicate with ASI, and if you have like any questions regarding the form.
And the next question, as a woman on e-board, how do you plan to address the possibility of not receiving the same respect as other males on CAB, especially with your position of having to enforce fees and fines?
I think this year I've had a lot of experience being a woman on CAB. Well, that's a woman on CAB, but like being a host for certain events, I've had already to like enforce certain things like call time, like people like not doing their job, or like delegating tasks to people. I feel like if someone were to, I guess, challenge my authority in a way, I think I would just remind them that like I am in this position for a reason, and I have experience in this club and other leadership positions, so I know what I'm doing. Sorry, can you repeat the second half of the question?
Second half of the question was, there's only one question, is how do you plan to address the possibility of not receiving the same respect as other males on CAB, especially with your position to enforce fees and fines?
Okay, yeah. So like not receiving the same respect as like other people on cabinet, I would just like, just remind them that like we were all elected for like our position for a reason, and that they should put like their trust into what I'm doing, and if I'm like trying to enforce something, then like there's a reason for it.
Next question is going to be coming from Bree. How do you plan to set up your successors to be as prepared for this position as they can be?
Well, obviously with my like addition to the event assessment, me personally, like I know I don't have like an actual event to like write my notes for my successor, but I definitely would, first of all, like they can like reach out to me, I would reach out to them, but maybe like I could do what Ree did specifically, like instead of putting my notes in the event assessment, I would like make master link page or whatever and like have my thoughts, have like the links to the folders that I use most often, give like a rundown of like what that folder is used for. Basically just like to make my successor's job easier, just having the Google Drive like laid out in a way where if they have like, oh, I need to know like how last year's document looked like this, they would be like able to like type in the search bar and it would like pop up. They wouldn't have to like search for anything. Stuff like that.
Next question coming from Hannah.
What is the process of booking a room on campus?
Do you want like for each tier or
let's say you were gonna book, just give me an event and how you would book it.
Okay, I'll do like Gen meeting. So like okay, wait, actually I know you book like Gen meetings like all at once, just like one Gen meeting. So well, first I would talk to the host. I would like need to know like the time, the day, probably like Thursday, 4:30, yeah. And then I would For the rooms, for like gen meetings specifically, try like this room or like another like bigger classroom. And then like the actual like booking process, you would like get the form for like to book a room and then like fill it out. It's like I think gen meetings like tier 1. So then it needs to be submitted like 2 days prior and like approved the day before. And then you just like email the like ASI people and then you CC Kabebe.
Next question coming from Rochelle.
What's your why?
My why? Okay. I hope it was clear in my speech, but basically my why is my experience on this year's CAB has genuinely been like so great, and I want the people, like the new people coming into CAB this year, to be able to have like the same great experience I did, but also like specifically like being on e-board to kind of like make their process like run smoothly. Like I want them to focus on creating and doing their job and being able to trust me to make their ideas come to life. And I think this year that was like I could trust our e-board like so much. So I just want like future cabs to like have that same trust level, if that makes sense.
The next question is coming from Bree. What personal commitments do you have outside of PAC? And then how do you plan to balance all of these commitments and prevent burnout? So you could just answer the first question of what personal commitments do you have outside of PAC?
Okay, not to sound lame, but my only commitment is school, and I'm taking pretty much all async classes next sem. So that's really my only commitment. How I plan to like handle everything, obviously like since I will be able to do like my own work on like, I'm very flexible, like I could do like my work on like whatever schedule I want. I think I would plan my like academic schedule around the PAC events, because I could do my asynchronous homework like at 12 a.m., but if there's a PAC event, I will be at that PAC event.
Let's say you aren't able to make it to an event. How are you still going to enforce fees and fines without physically being there?
Enforcing fees and fines without being there? Well, first of all, like, if people aren't going to be there or going to be late, I would still expect them to text me and the host and, like, communicate that. Like, just because I'm not there, like, doesn't mean that you can do whatever. But for me, specifically not being there and, like, not knowing, like, if people are late or not, I would obviously, like, communicate with eBoard and the host, and I would ask the host, like, maybe if they could keep track, or if they're too busy, then I would, like, assign someone on eBoard.
How do you feel about the CAB meeting minutes, and are there any changes you would make to them?
So the CAB meeting minutes, I like how, I know previous years they have it set up by like each position. I like how this year's is just like old new, because I feel like in previous, like where it's listed by position, I feel like people like just say whatever because I feel like they need to say something. I feel like how the minutes are now, they're very efficient. It's like only like type something if it's like important to address. I wouldn't make any changes to the actual document itself, but what I would do is like enforce a deadline by when they need to be filled out by. Because I know this year, like me and like some other people on CAB, like we have prior obligations, oh my gosh, prior obligations like group study stuff, or like we need to work on a project, and then like we check the minutes and it's like, oh, like nothing's really in it, maybe I could like plan with my study group at 3. But then we get there and people are like filling out the minutes like at the last second, and then like it drags the meeting on. So I would say like I wouldn't force a deadline. Like if you have something to say in the minutes, or if you have like an event assessment that's due, I'm expecting it to be done by like, let's say like the day prior, like at 11:59 p.m.
Next question. List each CAP position in minutes order.
Wait, can you repeat that?
List each CAP position in minutes order.
Minutes order. Okay, so we have okay. Do you want me to break up the VPs?
Yes.
However you think it's.
Okay. President, IVP, EVP, Treasurer, Secretary, academic, cultural, philanthropy, membership, wait, how many did I list? Okay. I'm gonna say PR, historian, sports chords. Oh my god. Wait, hold on. I need to count. Oh my god, I forgot someone. No, I forgot someone. Okay, not to drag this on, but then the PCN chords and then assistant treasurer is like, I think assistant treasurer is, I think, like before PR. That's probably not right, and I will check the minutes after this, and I will get back to you.
The next question is coming from Yen.
A lot of keyboard founders critique you on opening up a line. What will you do to address it?
Thank you for that question. Okay. Opening up more. I know this year, first I want to take accountability. I know this year, I guess I faced a lot of struggles with my position, with school stuff, with personal stuff, and I like kept to myself, and I didn't really like use the resources that were right in front of me and like lean on my fellow cabinet members. I think a big part of that was I didn't really know like exactly what it was that I was struggling with. I just knew that I was struggling. And I think because of that, I didn't know really like who to go to. I would rather, instead of just opening up to someone like, oh, you, like, I'm gonna talk about this, I would rather go to someone who I know like has experience going through that. I think this year, or now, I feel like I know exactly like what it was, like the topics that I was struggling with, and I feel like now I know each like e-board member or even like CAB member in general, like their experiences, and now I feel comfortable and like confident in the fact that like I know who to go to when I'm facing a struggle, and I'm able to name the feeling that I'm feeling.
Next question, Isaiah.
Respectfully critique you.
Hi Hannah, I love you. So, okay. I think this year, I think really my ideal version of secretary is just kind of based off Hannah. Like I feel like she she's like, Hannah AI. Like, she had everything done when she needed to. She communicated very clearly to other cabinet members and to me. And I feel like she's really understanding about fees and fines, and like the way she enforced it made it seem like, instead of being like, why are you fining me? She phrased it in a way of, oh yeah, that's my bad. Like, I did do that. I would say one thing that I'm hoping she can work on in she gets elected as president is just, I would say, using her voice more, but also like, how do I say this? Like, making herself known when she's in the room, if you get what I mean.
Okay, next question is coming from Hannah.
In the scenario that one of our rooms is double booked, what is your course of action?
If one of our rooms is double booked, first I would like figure out what other organization or like club we got double booked with, and then reach out to them and find a compromise, like ask like what their event is about. Maybe they like booked the room for like a longer time, but they're not gonna be in there the whole time. Or like maybe like their event is like set up in a way where we can use the room for one portion, they can use the room for another portion. But like if all else fails, I would decide to like relocate to a spot that like, if it's the very last minute, relocate to a spot that like we know is going to be open. Like if CP is open, or if like Red Side at the Pyramid's open, and then communicate with all cab, and then especially PR chair, so that they're able to like post on the story and like communicate to the gen members.